Hello, everyone. It's about a year or so ago that I stood up in front of a gathering of the national portfolio organisations in London and asked them what was worrying them and talked a little bit about what was worrying me. And one of the things that was really making me incredibly anxious was the opportunities or lack of them for young people in the capital. Unemployment was on the rise. We could see at the Arts Council that there was a real danger that the arts sector was going to suffer because there were no opportunities or very few opportunities that we could see for young people to join the workforce. And I reflected then, and I apologise for those of you who are in the audience, but I reflected then that I'm very old, and back in the 1980s when I was trying to break into the arts sector, there were a number of things which were really helpful. One of them was that my higher education was free. And nobody in my family, I think, would have accepted me going to do a drama degree at Manchester University if we'd had to pay for it. If I'm honest about it, I was one of the first to go to university in the family. The expectation was that I would do a so-called professional degree. It was hard enough to persuade them that drama was a proper degree anyway. So the free education was incredibly important. The second thing that was really important was that my rent was paid when I was unemployed, which made an enormous difference to how you went about finding a way into an industry which I didn't know anything about. I knew I loved it, but I didn't know how to get into it. And the third thing, and I apologise in advance if you were young and growing up in Manchester in 1980-something, was that there was an enterprise allowance scheme. So you could set up your own business and go and learn your trade on the road. And for those of you that experienced theatre and education in Manchester, it was me, and I'm sorry, because it wasn't very good at all. So that was then. And what we reflected on at that meeting with the NPO portfolio was there was a need to do something now. And so we went away at the Arts Council and we had a think. And we'd already been involved with the NSA and CC Skills and others in thinking about apprenticeships and the role that they could play. But we wanted to do something much, much more ambitious. And we felt that if the Arts Council didn't step in at this stage, there was a danger that nobody else could or would. And so we pulled all of our partners together. And although I'm not officially launching the programme today, I am warming you up for the Creative Employment Programme, because it is a really ambitious programme and we cannot deliver it unless the arts sector and the cultural sector come behind us and create the opportunity for jobs. We're going to put some support in to help you do that. But if you don't create the spaces, we won't get the kind of shift of young people that we want into our sector. And we all know what a fantastic sector it is to work in. You know, we've got talented, passionate, really committed people. We just want to give them their first opportunity. And we know once you get your first opportunity in an organisation, you tend to fly. That's what happens with our industry. So that's why I'm here. It sits very nicely within the Arts Council's broader goals. So those of you who've filled in an application to us recently will know that we have 5 goals. Achieving great art for everyone is our overarching mission, and then underneath that, one of the goals that we have is that the arts leadership and workforce are diverse and highly skilled. And I put both of those in, the highly skilled bit, but also the diversity. We're really absolutely sure that there are huge benefits in creating a more diverse workforce for the arts, and I mean that in every sense of that word, diversity. From gender through to ethnic background, through to social class, all of those are issues which are currently challenging people in the way that they get into our sector. So we think there should be equal opportunities to enter the workforce. We know that the creative industries are a high-growth sector with a need for a wider pool of talent. There is a real danger, I think, looking at what you've talked about, that we will narrow the talent pool to only those who can afford to take unpaid opportunities and can afford education. And that will be a danger to us and to our creativity and to the wealth of experience that we need to have into our sector to make it valuable. There is a skills shortage. So I'm going to restate some facts here, but more than a quarter of employers in the cultural and creative sector have had difficulty in recruiting due to a lack of experience and skills in applicants. And all of us who are employers know that that can be a challenge. Very difficult for people to get experience in our sector, even if they've got education in our sector. And that's another thing we want to address. And clearly our sector is really, really dependent on a clear progression route. You may hop all over the place, but you need to know where those opportunities are. There has to be a route through. So we're acting on that priority, and we are setting up the Creative Employment Programme to make sure that the sector has new ways to support young people into the workforce at a time when there are fewer jobs. The economy will turn around, and what we don't want to do is lose a block of people from coming in at this moment in time. So we must act now so that we don't retrench, all of us, during this period of economic difficulty. We don't become less diverse. We don't become less open to young people from all backgrounds. We need to encourage them in. So the Creative Employment Programme will be delivered nationally by one delivery partner, and that will be the National Skills Academy. And as I said, we're ambitious. We want to support up to 6,500 new apprenticeships, pre-apprenticeships, and paid internships for both graduates and non-graduates across the arts and cultural sector, with a focus on our footprint, which of course includes all the traditional art forms, but also includes museums and libraries. Also, we're going to look at supporting digital and creative industries where they can demonstrate that there's a benefit beyond to that arts sector. And I heard in the cab on the way here that we'll even look at very small SMEs and potentially self-employed people who also want to take apprenticeships on. Don't ask me about the detail because we've got to work all of that out. But there is the opportunity here through coming together into consortia and in being really creative about how we create those opportunities to do something really substantial and really step-changing, actually, at this moment in time. The programme aims to provide unemployed young people aged 16 to 24 with paid opportunities, and paid opportunities is really critical here. We're encouraging you as an arts and cultural sector to think about what that means at this moment in time. We want people to gain access to on-the-job training, to skills and experience in the arts and cultural sector. And we're quite happy to talk to people about taking people as interns first of all and then seeing what opportunities develop after that. The programme will give young people the opportunity to gain experience and skills, and we hope remove that barrier about you don't have the experience, you can't apply for the first job. It's designed to be responsive to local communities, local economies, and I'm really thrilled that you're here today because the NSA and CC Skills need to hear from you about how it can work for you. When I first started talking about this, I thought it would be brilliant. I'd just wave a magic wand, we'd put some money on the table, everyone would create a new job, and that would be great. Life doesn't quite work like that in the real world, and we've had to create a structure around it, but I think there's something with the structure and the formality which will add value to the opportunities that we're going to create as well. So rather than kick against it, I think the opportunity for you to feed in about how to make it most work for you is what we're interested in at this stage. The Arts Council has commissioned the National Skills Academy, as I said, and there is a grant of up to £15 million on the table to support those apprenticeships. If we can't create the apprenticeships and the opportunities, we can't give the money out. So we absolutely need you on board, as I said. And it will run from now through to March 2015. So this is a longer-term commitment for us as the Arts Council. It's not a dive in, dive out again. It's a serious committed partnership that we're looking to see here between us, between the NSA, between the CC Skills, and between you as a sector. We've all got to get motoring quite quickly on this. There are 1.3 million young people not in work or employment or education at the moment. That's an awful lot of young people. A lot of young people to feel that they don't have a start. And as I said, I studied in Manchester all those years ago. I met families who'd had unemployment in their family for 3 generations. This is something we just don't want to see as a society, as individuals. So there's something for us all to think about there about how we make a difference. There are 36,000 18 to 24-year-olds in London who've been unemployed for more than 6 months. If you've ever been unemployed, you'll know quite how grim that is. It's not somewhere that most people want to be. So I'm asking, I suppose, my rallying call is for all of you as individuals and as employers to think about how you can give an opportunity to a young person in those circumstances. And young person, we're stretching that definition as wide as we possibly can. It's very good for business. It's good for you, your soul, your sense of helping actually as individuals. And it's really, really good for young people at the moment. So please pay attention. Start as you're sitting here this afternoon to think about where you've got space and capacity and what you need in terms of support to help change that environment. Thank you.